Shaun, we're back from the international break. Is it giving everyone a little bit of time to freshen up and reset?
The players had a couple of days off at the end of last week, including the weekends. So, trained hard physically Monday, Tuesday, and then today's been a little bit more based around Barnsley. So, some time to rest some, get some back fit, and we need to go again.
I think Tello was away on international duty. Has he returned back and he's all fit?
Yeah, he did some of the session today. So, I'll make that call tomorrow. He's played 2 games, big disappointment for him and his team. So, but he's back with us now. So I'll make that call tomorrow whether he starts or not.
How's everybody else shaping up fitness-wise? Anybody? Callum McManaman close to a return?
Cal's not there yet. We've got Johnny Smith back. So he missed out for us straight after the last league game. So he's back training today. So Johnny's back training. That was a couple of weeks he's missed. So we're waiting on Cal. Joe Adams is obviously a long-term injury. So and Paul Dummett won't make the game this weekend.
Paul, anything long-term? Or?
No, hopefully we'll have him back next week. But it's I think he's missed such a large chunk of games that it'll take him a bit of time to get up to fitness, really. You
mentioned Johnny Smith. He scored a rather spectacular goal there last season in a 1-1 draw. More of the same would be nice this weekend.
Yeah, it was an interesting game there last time. One of those games where you go in 1-0 down at half time, but actually we'd done a lot right in that first half. So Barnsley, I know that was under a previous manager. We played them in the League Cup this year, but that club is built on a certain system, certain way of playing. Certain principles that they have as a team. It doesn't seem to ever change. I think they've got really talented players, some really talented players. So we have to go there and basically play how we've been doing in some home games or in a lot of performances, but then actually the biggest and the main part is obviously taking the chances we're creating, and we have to start doing that.
You mentioned the Carabao Cup game, tight game that was. Do you expect it to be similar at the weekend, or obviously they're on the home patch, so there'll be a little bit more pressure on them to go out and perform?
What they do the same whether they're at our place or theirs. They'll try and high press us. They'll try and attack our behind our defensive line, really aggressive at sort of getting the ball forward. I really like O'Connell. It looks if he comes back in midfielder, and obviously they've got Humphreys that at any moment can hurt you. So, do you know what the game was in the League Cup? Watching that back, first 45 to 60 minutes we had enough chances to win that game. But then in fairness, they put their stronger team on. We took some players off, and in the end, in the last half an hour, they were definitely the more dominant team. I think it'll be a very similar game. I'm not going to take a step back from how we play. We'll try and play through their press, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to allow us to play under no pressure.
You mentioned about taking the chances. Is that the key message this weekend? Take those chances when we get them?
Yeah, I think it's a balance. Hopefully if I strike it right. We've got some extremely young strikers and wingers. It's putting enough pressure on them in demand, and then there's also the confidence part where they're in League One. It's an unforgiving league. So it's also trying to keep their confidence, like Joe Hugo, Dale. I know the big focus is obviously on the chances we've created and haven't scored. It's a balance. Hopefully I strike that right.
We're going Saturday's the start of a real hectic run of fixtures. I think you mentioned the amount of games we've got coming up. Is it about utilising the whole squad? We say this a lot in this period of the year, but is it about every member of that squad is going to play a part?
Yeah, it has to be. I think with 11 games in 42 days or about that. Particularly how we try and play, we try and press really aggressively. I ask a lot of our attacking players, so not everyone can play all the games, but I'm aware that if we find a certain balance of the team or somebody's in really good form, then I'll let them go until fatigue takes over. So I think that's just how I see it. Sometimes I get it right. A couple of international breaks, we had sort of 7 unbeaten, but we changed the team 4 or 5 times every week, so I don't think there's an exact science. I'll try and get it right, obviously, as often as possible.